A call to order and a roll call.
Certainly. Ms. Wells,
Galen, we're doing a roll call and you're
you're,
muted. You're muted.
Here, sorry.
Mr. Rowena,
Here.
Cantor,
Here.
Mr. Witherspoon,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes. Here.
Ms. Thomas,
Here.
Mr. Mancini,
Here.
and Mr. Schulman.
Here.
Okay, I believe we have quorum and we can go.
All right. We're missing, excuse me, one commissioner, Mr. Goldstein, who indicated that he might come in a little bit late. We have a series of public hearings. Let me explain for anyone here who is a novice how those work. We call on the developer or the developer's representative to give their presentation. During the presentation, commissioners may have questions which they can ask, although commissioners can ask their questions at any time during this process. Once the developer or developer's representative has given their presentation, we will open it up to the public. Excuse me. At that point, I'll ask Michelle to explain the process for raising your hand and being recognized. You only have one opportunity to speak. So make sure that in your presentation, you say everything you want to say about the project. The only other opportunity you'll have to express yourself on the project would be in email or in a letter to the commission. Once everyone from the public who wishes to speak has had an opportunity, again, the developer or their representative will have an opportunity to respond to the comments made by the public. The public comments are actually being made to the developer and not to the commission or the commissioners individually. So we would ask that you address your questions in that manner. The public, in all of the public hearings that we've held in this manner, have always been appropriate and polite. But should there be a problem, should someone start making inappropriate accusations or using inappropriate language, you will be cut off and you will no longer be able to speak at this hearing. With that, the first public hearing is 9-20 SP TB Norwalk Apartments LLC, 467 West Avenue, 17 Butler Street, 3 Quincy Street, The Pinnacle. I'm going to ask Steve to introduce this because although it's a public hearing, we may be continuing this public hearing to our next meeting on the 15th of December.
That's correct. I believe Craig Flaherty, representing the applicant, is on the call as well, but we're still working through some design issues with their team, and the intent is to come back to you for a meeting next Tuesday and give a little more comprehensive report. But since the meeting was noticed for tonight, we wanted to make that publicly known, and I don't know if Craig wants to add anything additional.
Let me simply say, Craig, before you speak, that what that means is if you were expecting to speak on this it's in your own best interest to wait until Tuesday evening so that you hear everything that the developer has to say. We won't keep you from speaking this evening if you wish to, but understand it. You'll be making your remarks without having all of the information on the development, whereas as of Tuesday night, there should be more information available to you. With that, I'll call on Mr. Flaherty.
Oh, that's fine, Mr. Chairman. I have no more to add. We're excited to see you next week as we finalize a couple of things that we just couldn't complete in time for this hearing.
Okay. Then we'll pause this hearing and reconvene it next Tuesday, the 15th at 6 p.m. I believe it's going to be the first item on the agenda, if I read that agenda correctly. With that, we'll go to the second public hearing, 5-20 SPR, Wall Street Recap Associates LLC, Municipal Holdings LLC, Second Garden Development Limited Partnership, 61 Wall Street, also known as Wall Street Place Phase 1, and 6-20 SPR, Wall Street Recap Associates LLC, Municipal Holdings LLC, Second Garden Development Limited Partnership, 17 Isaacs Street, construction of a new 4-story building. With that, call on Attorney Hennessy, who I believe represents these entities.
Yes, sir, I do. And thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll note for the record that our entire development team is here. They were previously introduced to you at the prior versions of this public hearing. They're all here with one exception, and that would be Weesey Brown, our traffic engineer. He had a conflict, couldn't make it. And since he's already given his presentation, his report, and Mr. Yosik of the city has attested to the accuracy and veracity of it, we thought it was okay to excuse him, Mr. Chairman. I think we're principally here to describe the updates and the progress that have been made between our architect, who is here, Michael Weisbrod, and your peer review architect, Mr. Griswax, who I also see is here. I am happy to report what I've heard. Haven't been a direct part of it, but that those two gentlemen have been working very hard since really since this was filed, but in particular since the last hearing we had, and have been working right up through literally today on ironing out some final issues. And I think what you'll hear is that everybody is quite happy with the progress that's been made, and the resultant building ought to be a very handsome addition to the city's stock of housing, and something that everybody's going to be very, very proud of when it's complete. I'll let Mr. Weisbrod describe those things to you. Since many of the things that he'll describe were really result of today's efforts, we don't have in plan form, Mr. Chairman, all of these things detailed, but I think you'll find that his verbal description of this of those will help you. You'll understand it. You'll gain confidence in the building, and I will turn it over to him. But before I do, there is one housekeeping thing I'd like to do. The only other matter that we had unresolved and open was a report that we were required to submit to the WPCA based on the monitoring we were doing of the sanitary sewer pipe network in our vicinity.
Attorney Hennessy, sorry to interrupt. We may have people listening in who don't understand what the WPCA is. Could you please explain it?
The Water Pollution Control Authority. I'm sorry, sir. You're right. And they have jurisdiction over the sanitary sewer pipe network. And that's their area of concern here. They've, what I understand, a newer policy to require monitoring for a certain period of time in order to determine the capacity of the sewers to accept additional flow that would come from any project. And in this project, where there's 151 units, they want to be sure that the city infrastructure can handle it. I also understand, and I'm not the engineer Mr. Holsworth is, but he has schooled me to say that the standard is a pipe network that exceeds 75% of capacity is deemed to be undesirable. So your goal is to be under 75% of capacity. Everybody under the new policy must monitor the flow for a period of time. We did that. We got the results. The results showed that the highest capacity that was tripped by our monitors was 13% of capacity of the network, far, far below the maximum exceedance. That has all been transmitted in a report form to the WPCA. And I don't know if your staff has received confirmation that it's fine, but in our view, you will get it shortly if you have it. I know we tickled them today trying to get a response for tonight. And I don't know if it came through. We haven't seen it. But except for that housekeeping detail, which I would put in the very good news category, all that is left is the matter of building design. So I'll ask Mr. Weisbrod to describe that to you now, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. For the record, my name is Mike Weisbrod. I'm a principal at Kroski Architects here on behalf of the applicant. So the last time I was before you, I kind of went over some changes that occurred since the last iteration that you've seen. I'll be doing the same tonight. I'm going to kind of break this down into two groups. First, I'll be discussing some changes that we have been able to put into final presentation drawings. I'll go over those first. And as Attorney Hennessy mentioned, there were some more recent changes that we've worked with Mr. Griswatz on that I will walk you through that we don't yet have in final presentation form. We'll start the screen share here. All right, hopefully everyone can see that.
Looks good.
Okay. So the first thing I'd like to walk you through, the change that has been implemented since last time, is ground floor transparency. And I'll speak to this a little bit later, but since the last time you've seen the drawings, the amount of glazing on the ground floors has been increased throughout. The typical storefront bays have been increased in width throughout Isaac Street, as well as Wall Street.
Michael, can you pause for a second?
Sure.
I apologize. I think there's a Zoom issue that we're having at the moment. And I don't think the meeting is actually being broadcast because I was clicking on trying to see who was watching and I don't see anybody watching, which kind of surprised me a little bit. So I'm going to check on that now. Just give me 2 seconds, okay?
Sure.
Michelle, I don't know if you can check on that because I actually got a text from somebody else who said it wasn't broadcasting.
with the items and the proper way to link in?
Yeah, maybe we can chat tomorrow morning if you want to think about the notice issue or not. If that's
Okay.
a concern, then we can go forward from there.
All right.
Okay.
What should we do, Steve? Give you about 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah, Michelle, why don't you just end the meeting, and then if you go back in and you have difficulties with the setting, call me, and then I'll get somebody on the phone that can help us.
Just, Mr. Schulman?
Yes.
Just to make the record as clear as possible, maybe we can just have a simple statement, and I'm happy to make it. If you could just confirm it. So this hearing will be continued to, I believe that's Tuesday, the 15th. It's a Tuesday, correct?
If
Correct.
possible. Oh,
Yeah, if possible. And we will be here in any event, if we deem it correct. And what time would it begin, Steve?
That's 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Okay. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you, folks.
sure. All right.
So are we reconvening at like 6:40?
Yeah, it's 6:31. We'll reconvene in 9 minutes.
Sounds good.
Okay. Hope to see you all then.
Bye-bye.